Hey, everybody, this is Brian Rundle with the Black and White Show with Brian Rundle and Lana Quest. I am waiting for Lana to hop on here. She is trying to get on. It's going to take her a couple minutes, so we're going to wait for her, but I thought I'd jump on. And right now you got the white part of the show. We're just waiting for Lana here, so she should be on here any minute. We got a lot of things to discuss tonight. Some of the things that we are going to talk about are going to be what's going on in Texas with Katie Cox. I'm sure many of you heard that story. Jack Smith just made a filing towards Donald Trump, which made big news recently. The Biden impeachment inquiry that the Republicans are posing against the president of the United States, hoping to get some traction there. Doesn't look like they're doing a very good job, but they're trying their best. And we're going to try to play another little game here when Lana hops on. So that should be here any minute. Let me just check a message, see if she sent something here. And here she...
Yeah, sorry.
I was just explaining to the audience that the white guy, the part of the black and white, the white is on. Black.
Did you get my DM?
Yeah, I did. I sent it back to you. I just texted you. I was like, "Are you okay?" I'm panicking. I'm like, I can't go on without Lana. She's the smart one.
Stop it. I was on StreamYard, right? Because I was like, let me try to schedule my show for Thursday to make me get on Thursday if it's scheduled, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And I'm new to it. I went live on. Sorry, everyone. Hey, it's the Black and White Show. I went on last week real quick.
I saw that you got StreamYard on your last show.
I did it on StreamYard, right? Yep. So I kind of like winged it because it's kind of, kind of easy. So I said, let me go on and schedule it. So then when I was like, oh, shoot, it's 10 of, I logged out and then had to log back in. And I'm like, what fucking email? Because I got like 4 emails, right? Like, which one is the one for your show? Yep. And it kept
our show.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Our show. So I'm trying to get the code sent. And then I'm like, it was going to a junk. I got it.
Hey, listen.
It was in the junk mail.
Like I said, at least you're on StreamYard, by the way, is the host of the of these podcasts, these live podcasts and stuff like that. They have Christmas tree behind me. Yes. Wanted to feature the Christmas tree. But first of all, are you okay?
Hi y'all. Hi everyone. Sorry. I'm sorry I'm late.
No. That's good. You were right on time. This is the first time I went on live by myself, and
I know you're like,
really? Yeah.
Isn't that a weird thing, right? To be by yourself.
What's funny is because I did the podcast by myself all the time, but there you could stop, you can edit, you could do all that shit. You're on live, and you're like, oh fuck. Sit here and talk and explain. But I did go over what we were going to talk about tonight. Okay. I really, I haven't really sent you recently what we are going to talk about, but I know you don't really care. So I'll go over what we're talking about, but I just want to tell everybody I'm in a very ornery mood. I just want to tell you right now, I'm a little pissed off, and I'm not going to waste everybody's time, and I'm not going to go through the whole scenarios and logistics. But as I told you before, I'm a diehard Miami Dolphins fan, and I have aspirations to see them. I mean, I'm not talking about just see them play in the Super Bowl. I have lined everything up, hotel room, flight, everything to go in case they make it. And as of last night, they played last night, and I'm thinking to myself, they have a really, really good chance. In fact, if you look at the Vegas odds, maybe you know about Vegas odds or you don't, but I'll make it simple. Yeah. The Dolphins are one of the top 3 to 4 teams to make the Super Bowl as far as Vegas odds are concerned. So there's a good chance. Last night, they played a game that made me so angry. I did not sleep for a long time. And it sounds hyperbolic, but I am telling you what this feels like so you can get at least some sort of comparison. We've all been in love, right?
Yeah.
Okay. We all been in love, and this is a relationship that I have that I love this team. I'm in love with this team, and I'm prepared to take them to the altar at the end of the year. And that's the Super Bowl.
Yay.
I'm ready to propose. And I'm so in love. And then last night, we had a Christmas party we were supposed to go to. She cancels on me. And then I heard that she was out later on with somebody else. And that's what it felt like to me. The way they lost this game. If you are a football fan and you happen to watch that game last night, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. And I was so pissed off that I did not sleep well. And maybe that sounds crazy to some of you, but that is a reality and that's a fact, period.
Maybe they'll make it up to you.
Okay. Thank you, Lana. Thank you. I have a glass of wine too, by the way, if that's okay.
Nice. Yeah. No, if I knew that, I would have brought me some wine to the show.
Go get some.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you want, anytime, step off and go get some. But anyway, a couple things I want to talk about tonight. And this is something like I said, that's why I'm not really worried about whether or not Lana knows these topics, because I know she already knows what's going on. I would obviously like to talk about what's going on in Texas with Katie Cox. Would like to talk about Jack Smith just made a big filing that made a lot of news. The Joe Biden impeachment inquiry is underway, supposedly. And Lana, I have a game tonight that you're going to hate it. You're going to absolutely hate every second of this game. But you're going to see why, and you'll understand why you hate it. And, we'll go from there. So, and by the way, I don't even tell Lana that she's playing these games. I force them on her. So anytime you want to tap out of them, feel free. I'm okay with that. So before we get to the Katie Cox news, I do want to point out once again that the economy is thriving. If you saw today, more good news about inflation going down, and that set the stock market up to a level that is close to a record high. Now, I know that is not the indication of how well the economy is doing fully, but that definitely gives you an indication of how people who invest their money, and they take it very seriously, how they invest their money and the future of their investments. And they feel really, really, really good about the future right now. Me being in the mortgage industry, I feel very good about the future right now. In fact, I'm busy right now and it's not even the best time. So, we've got a lot of things going on. And Lana, I think I sent you a message over the weekend. Somehow our full show last week got like 1,400 views, which for us is big. I mean, we just started the show. We gained another 15 subscriptions, which is nice. And we love people to subscribe. By the way, is this the time of the show we tell people to like and subscribe? Yeah. And the like button really isn't that hard. Neither is the subscribe button. I mean, subscribe might be a pain in the ass because you're kind of like, oh shit, this guy's popping up on this guy and Lana are popping up on our feed. Maybe you don't want, I don't know, but hopefully we're good enough to where you subscribe, but at least like it.
Yeah.
Right?
Like the video.
Yeah.
We want you to subscribe too.
Yeah. 100%. We got to earn the subscription is what I think, but what difference does it make?
You got to earn the like. If you like the video, you got to earn.
Not really. The like is 50. You can earn it. You can not earn it.
Just so bad for you guys.
That's exactly right. Yep. So that's fine. So, but the reason why I'm bringing that up is because I get I've told you, I get tons of comments from a lot of different people. And I have a big concern, and it's a concern I've had for a very long time. We may have talked about it before, but we keep talking about the messaging and all this stuff. And there is I don't care what anybody does. There is no Joe Biden. There is no Kamala Harris. There is no Hillary Clinton. There's nobody that can go out there constantly and get a message through to MAGA people who have made up their mind based on a meme that they saw on Facebook. And one that is driving me fucking insane that I keep getting hit with all the time on these comments is, you can't say anything good about Joe Biden. He's done nothing. When Donald Trump was in office, gas prices were at $2 and mortgage rates were at 2%. they don't know I'm in the mortgage business. And I explained to them very nicely up front. I was like, listen, I'm happy to have this conversation with you. I'm in the mortgage business. I'm here to tell you Donald Trump had zero to do with 2% mortgage rates. But if you want to continue, let's go. So just
or
for
the
anybody.
gas. Or
Correct.
the gas.
Correct.
During the pandemic. Who was driving?
That's
Gas, I'm
exactly
surprised it
right.
dropped to 10 cents a gallon.
Again,
nobody was driving.
Alana, you have kids, I believe, in their teens, correct?
One's in the teens and the other's older. But yeah.
So you have one in the teens.
Yeah.
And I would imagine somewhere in their teens, maybe early teens, they learned about supply and demand somewhere in school. That is the most basic, easiest thing to understand when it comes to why something costs a lot or why something does not cost a lot.
Right.
And this one's pretty simple, even for MAGA, even for people who just don't follow anything. Supply and demand should be a pretty easy thing to understand, but apparently a lot of people either don't understand or they just refuse to understand it.
Yeah.
So
both.
Yeah, both. So the economy is doing extremely well. And I don't know how to message that to anybody who just does not understand, because if you look at the polls say that Donald Trump is better for the economy than Joe Biden is.
Yeah. And that's the frustrating thing, because it's like, you in the media and it's just like Democrats have to do a better job at messaging. Like, I honestly don't know what else they need to tell you.
Yeah.
Because not only are Democrats saying it, like the news is, if you watch your regular news, not Fox, like your local news, they're talking about like the index and the Dow and all of these things.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's being talked about, and how the economy, like when the reports come out and the jobs report, those things are coming out.
Like, it's even coming out on Fox News. In the morning, I guess Maria Bartiromo is on there, and she always has to explain whenever something good comes out. And she's even like, gosh, this is way better than we even thought. And then they have to bring on some expert who can find a way to say that this is not good news. But
because possibly, maybe, somehow, someday, we may be in a recession. Like,
and that's the thing, is that they use the word recession, and they know that a lot of people don't really understand the word recession, or they just sort of understand it, and it's an easy word to use because people can associate it with being scared about the future and everything like that. But the fact of the matter is, the chances of the so-called recession under Joe Biden have gotten extremely low, and everybody feels that now the feds are going to start lowering the rates, and we'll get back to normal. Did it take a little bit longer than most people want? It could take a month, and people are pissed off that it took a month, but it just doesn't work that way. As I explained to some of the people who were commenting, there is no guy, I don't care who he is, who you think he is, how much you love him, how much you hate him. There is no guy that comes in as president, has a magic wand and goes, interest rates are low, gas prices are low. You know why? Because I know how to do it.
Yeah, that's not how that works. Like,
no, it doesn't.
It's like you have to move with the flow. Like, you can't just be like, oh, right. But Trump's going to come in. He's like, you know what? Lower the gas, interest rates dropped. Like you said, like that's not how that works. Could the interest rates have gone? The feds could have made them low, right? Then we would have been in trouble. Like if that happened, we would have been in a recession, because then everybody would have been buying up all the houses. They were trying to slow the economy down because the economy was doing so well.
Correct. And, that's another thing that, I try to tell people in the beginning, is that when Donald Trump was president, yes, first of all, they can have the narrative. So the narrative is, when Donald Trump was president, interest rates and gas prices were low. That's a fact, 100%. But it's not because of Donald Trump. You have to put it in context. And I know a lot of the people on the news stations who like to fool, and by the way, they're all just fooling each other at this point. It's maybe they're fooling some fringe people. But at the end of the day, it wasn't because of that. But, I'm afraid now, and, when you see polling with Donald Trump and all this, our politics has turned into professional wrestling. And I grew up as a professional wrestling fan. I loved professional wrestling when I was younger. And even through when, The Rock and all, it was very entertaining, very, very entertaining. And I loved every second of it. And, basically what it came down to, there's two parts of professional wrestling. You had the entertainment part where the person's on the microphone talking, which was the best part. Then you had the boring wrestling part. Well, the Democrats are the boring wrestling part, and the Republicans are the guys on the microphone talking all the shit. And that's where the people are cheering, and they don't understand that it's all scripted, just like it is in professional wrestling.
You're absolutely right. It's so true.
Yeah, and that's what, and they draw more to the guy on the microphone. They literally think a guy like Donald Trump is a tough guy who will tell Vladimir Putin what to do. It's like, dude, Vladimir Putin laughs at Donald Trump.
How can anyone, if like your eyes are saying Donald Trump doesn't even act tough around Vladimir
Correct.
Putin. Like, so
that's exactly correct.
Right? How can you even think that he's tough? He doesn't act tough in front of anyone, as a matter of fact. Just when he's on the stage by himself is when he's, and at a woman, Hillary, when he was lurking behind. Like, that's when he's tough.
Well, that's when he knew. I mean, that's when he was at the height of his, ego with, just destroy her. This is going to be awesome. And these MAGA people saying, I can't wait till you get on the stage and destroy that bitch. And he eats that up. But when it comes to somebody like Vladimir Putin, where he stands on a stage, and again, how any American did not look back and go, did this motherfucker just agree with Vladimir Putin over our own intelligence agencies? Is that what just fucking happened?
No, not only are they okay with it and let that slide, now they think Vladimir Putin's our friend.
They're siding with Russia now.
Yeah.
Yep. It's unbelievable.
But again, they're undereducated, so they don't know the history, so they're so easily persuaded. They're just like, well, why is he our enemy? Why do we have a beef with him anyway? Trump says he's our guy, so he's our guy. Like, that's literally how they are. Trump said it, so it must be. There were airplanes during whatever war he said it was, so it just must be. Like, I don't know.
Donald Trump at this point just needs theme music, just like professional wrestlers, and the theme music hits and the crowd goes nuts. It's YMCA though, which is, it's kind of weird for the whole MAGA, side.
Sometimes he's there like saying his weird thing, and there's some weird music in the background while he's going, and the skies opened up, and it was dark, and it was all.
It's the QAnon sort of time. By the way, I don't know what happened to Q. Q seems to have been on the down low for a long time. He's not on the scene anymore, but maybe he comes back. I don't know what happens anymore. But you ready to talk Katie Cox?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so I'm sure we've all heard the story of this young lady who got pregnant in Texas, and Texas has very strict abortion laws, and they have, I believe, a law that allows for an emergency abortion. She had an issue where it appeared as if something was going to kill the baby. It could be detrimental to the mother as well, whether it was her life or whether it was the ability of her to have children again. And it was originally allowed, and then the Texas Supreme Court came back and said, no, we're not allowing this abortion. And so now I think she had to leave the state to get the procedure in which she was not allowed to get in Texas. It is mind-numbing. It is mind-boggling. As a man, I really am pissed off about this, but I am really interested to hear from a woman's perspective on how she feels about this. And Lana, is there any part of you as a woman that understands the political and social or whatever play here from Texas that they think that this is a good idea.
Sorry that this is about to happen, but it's just like, there's so many thoughts in my head. And so just to back up for 1 second, Republicans play this game about there are exceptions to, it's not total bans. There are exceptions, rape, incest, life of mother, right?
Mm-hmm.
So here we are, Kate Cox, who represents all of us, right? Life of mother is in jeopardy because her fetus has a fatal anomaly.
Mm-hmm.
All kinds of issues. The spine was twisted, irregular heart. The skull wasn't forming properly. So if the fetus survived for her to give birth to it, it wasn't going to live past like a week, they said. And if it perchance did, slim chance, it would have all these other issues. So like that, so
it would die a horrible death.
Or live a horrible fucking life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or not, like, how is it living if it has all of those issues? And you're talking about medical bills on top of medical bills on top of medical bills, which Texas isn't going to foot, right? She is going to foot, and she's already a mother of 2 children, 1 3 and 1 1.5. So she wanted to end the suffering. A woman who wants a lot of children. She wants a lot of children.
Yeah.
But she knew that I forgot what she named it, but she was never going to have a good outcome for her daughter.
Yeah.
The fetus was a girl. It wasn't going to happen. In Texas, under the law, she wasn't fucking sick enough. She wasn't as close to death because I guess apparently you have to be close to death. Who makes that decision of whether she's close to death?
Well, the Texas Supreme Court apparently makes that decision.
One judge says that she could do it, and then Paxson, because fucking don't take Paxson off the hook, because indicted Paxson, the fucking criminal, is the one who was like, hey, well, Dr. Oz told us. Dr. Oz said that it's between the local law official, the local government, your doctors, and your husband and the woman. Like, all y'all got to be in there. So Paxson is in the GYN office, and he said, you know what? You don't qualify because you're not sick enough.
No. And by the way, how did that work out for Dr. Oz, by the way? It didn't work out very well. I mean,
it didn't work out, but you have this woman fucking fleeing her state.
Yeah.
You have a medical procedure to save her life. Mind you, she was in the hospital 4 times because she was getting sicker and sicker. She was leaking amniotic fluid. Like, she's getting this toxins leaking from her body. Yeah. And she was not sick enough, and she had to leave. And then, mind you, the appeals court has the nerve to be like, the state Supreme Court was like, nope, she doesn't qualify. Like, the fucking nerve of you. And here's the thing. I'm sorry. She's privileged, right? Kate Cox had privilege because she was all set. She had the money to leave the state. We don't know where she went to have this medical procedure. But you know what privilege doesn't get you? Out of the suffering. She still fucking suffered. It doesn't matter if you're Democrat, Republican, non-political affiliation, whether you have money or you don't have money. She suffered.
Yeah. She's
going to lose something she wanted so desperately to have, but she has to, like, I can't even imagine the emotion. One, you're carrying something that it's not going to have a good outcome. So you either deliver it, watch it gasp for air, like women have done, right? Because this is not a one-off. It's not just Kate Cox. There's multiple women. There's a woman who left her state And on the way, her and her husband stopped at a hotel with her children, right? She miscarried in the bathroom toilet while her kids slept in the other room because she was forced to leave.
Yeah.
You can get sick and die trying to travel to get an abortion because you're just getting that sick. There was a woman who miscarried in a hair salon. Like, that shit's crazy.
Listen, first of all, I don't think men even really understand. I mean, I obviously don't, but I don't think they understand the bond that a woman and the child inside of her have together, when they're doing it. I don't know if you saw this, but it was years ago when that's okay. When do you need a glass of wine? Go get a glass of wine. Take your time, Lana. I'm gonna have a sip of my own right now.
I have something. I do.
Wow. I like this. You can just do whatever the fuck you want.
I know. Hold on. I have something.
I was gonna say right here in the middle of a nice pointy. Oh, look at you!
I'm even grapefruit Paloma.
All right. I like this. This is to help you with your cough.
Right.
Yeah.
It's that post-nasal drip. Because remember, I was sick, 2-3 weeks ago? This is the cough that's from that.
I was say this show could start getting dangerous. So watch out.
Keep going.
But what I was saying is that the bond between a woman and her child, when Pete Buttigieg was running for president, he was on a town hall with Mike Wallace. I think this was when he was running for president. It might have been afterwards because he shows up on Fox News a lot. But they were asking him about abortions, and they were using the narrative that Fox News loves to use about women getting abortions in the 9th month. And Pete Buttigieg, of course, originally stated that it is an extremely rare case. And of course, Mike Wallace continued to push on him about it still happens. So he just stopped and said, okay, look, we want to go there. Let's go there. The bottom line is this. If a woman is in the 8th or 9th month of her pregnancy, this is not a decision that out of nowhere she just goes, you know what? I don't want this kid. This is somebody that says, I wanted this baby. I have a name. I have clothes. I have toys. I have everything picked out for this child already. So the bond is there with this child. And the thought of this child not being in my life devastates me in so many words. And he's exactly right.
Well, if it's at that long, 8th and 9th stage, that's rare, right? That's the lie that Republicans are telling, that women are getting abortion on call, like you just call someone like, hey, I know I'm 37 weeks, but I don't want this anymore. I
went to the club the other night.
That's not even an abortion. That's not even an abortion. It's not even the same medical procedure.
Right.
So people don't know what they're talking about, and no one is doing that. That is a case-by-case basis, and that's only if it's going to cause serious health issues to the mom, or that fetus has no chance of living. That's that. No, who wants to carry a dead anything inside of their body? That's insane, and that's what women are being forced to do at this point.
Do you know how many months Katie was along?
She was 20 weeks.
20 weeks. Okay.
Into 21 weeks.
Even then, again, I would assume that, somebody that wants to have a child and knows that they're pregnant.
Devastating.
Yeah, 100%.
The suffering. And then you're making her suffer even more. Her husband. Can you imagine every fucking day you're walking around and someone's like, oh my God, how far along are you?
Yeah.
When's it coming? When are you due? And you know that it's never going to happen.
Yeah.
And then the longer you stay pregnant, the less chances that you'll ever be able to have another child. This is what's happening. This is what these stupid fucking laws are. Yes, of course there should be a cutoff. No one wants to have an abortion at 37 weeks. It's not a fucking abortion. That's infanticide. Like
right,
that's not a thing.
Yeah.
But you should be able to choose, not Paxson, not any other stupid fool who has no idea what they're talking about. And then you're talking about Amy Coney Barrett. Oh, well, we have safe haven laws. So now we force people to deliver babies that they can't afford or do not want, because the easy thing is to say, don't have sex if you can't afford a child. Like, that's fucking stupid, because
Correct.
birth control fails, people get raped, there's all kinds of situations that happen. You should not be forced to do that. We just saw a Republican lawmaker in, I forgot what state, raping his adopted daughter. That's what we want, right? Like, so just put more kids into the system so they can fucking get abused. Come on, man. That's
and I think the title of I always put a title of the show, whatever, and basically it was that this country is not your church. And obviously this is a lot to do with religion, and it has a lot to do with their religious beliefs. Again, I'm not really sure still what the religious belief is that, an abortion, other than they have this idea that God put that baby inside of you. I'm not really sure what God's plan is by putting a rape child inside of you or an incest child inside of you. I'm not sure what the plan is there. And
like making a 7th grader give birth and be a mom.
7th grader.
That's what we did. That's what we did here in America.
Yeah.
Is what we did.
And just from percentage, just from the chances of it, there is absolutely no question in my mind. There are plenty of these Republicans who are against abortion, either had a mistress, had a daughter, had a wife, or girlfriend, or whatever. They 100% had. I know people in my life that had abortions, and they claim to be religious, all that stuff. So listen,
and that's the point. That's the part too, right? It's the hypocrisy.
Yep.
So then you have all these fools running around. You're a baby murderer, right?
Correct.
It's just like, you don't get to say that, because you don't say a goddamn thing when those children were murdered with assault weapons in Uvalde. You said fucking nothing. You said fucking nothing during Sandy Hook. You said fucking nothing during Tennessee, because, oh my God, it's my whatever the fucking was the Second Amendment right to bear my fucking arms over the life of these babies. But the unborn fucking fetus that doesn't even have ears or eyes developed or fucking all its extremities, that is what we're fighting for. This is what we're forcing women to have while they get sick and possibly die. But oh no, we don't care. Carry it until there's no cardiac at all, no cardiac activity at all. You got to do that, or you just got to wait until you miscarry.
Yeah.
Right, you're hemorrhaging in the parking lot. Let's check with the law and see if we can take care of you now. Like, that's men don't have to do that.
No, they don't. And again, as a guy, listen, there's a lot of differences between men and women. There's stuff, where you're in a relationship and I'm just like, I don't get it, but, and they probably don't get a lot of shit. There's a lot of women who could not understand why I could not get any fucking sleep last night. They'd be like, are you really that mad over this game? I'm like, yeah, I'm really that mad over this game, because it's just something I love. But again, it's one of those things that this is beyond football. This is beyond anything else. This is a woman carrying a child that they have, put a bond together of, something that I can't even begin to explain, and I'm not even going to try.
It's interesting. And let's go back to Texas. 2 things, because as Owen Benjamin highlights pops in. He popped in on my show on Thursday. Yeah, we do need better prenatal, but prenatal cannot stop whatever your DNA genes are. Like, these are fetal anomalies. Kate had good prenatal. That's how she found out what was going on, right? Prenatal is not going to stop these birth defects and these mutations from happening. That's not a, we need better prenatal. She found out because she had great prenatal.
Yeah, and I will say, I'm gonna get to the comments here in just a second, but I want to say also too that what I really hate about this case, I really wish we didn't know this poor woman's name, because it is such a
we needed
shame.
to. No,
Yeah,
we needed to see her face, because when you don't show the face, you don't see the name. It doesn't mean as much. You need to see that woman. You need to see her suffering. We needed to see those videos. It's just like I don't want to compare to Emmett Till, but some things you just fucking need to see.
Yeah, there is certainly a case for that. You're 100% right. I think the other end of it too is I think this poor woman, for at least, depends on what you consider a short term, will go through the hatred and anger of people towards her. But again, at the end of the day, these people are pussies and they talk a talk and they don't walk the walk, just like Donald Trump, how we spoke earlier. But all right, we got a couple of comments from Owen Benjamin Highlights. He seems to be a fan of the comedian. Let's see what the first one was. Isn't there any solution to the issue of abortion we can all agree to? I think in my estimation is, I would assume anybody that's got a name Owen Benjamin Highlights has got to be a dude. If I am wrong, please correct me. But I think you and I probably should sit this one out. I think this is something more for women to have more of an opinion on. That's just my, that's my opinion.
It's just not. I think like, these men that go around like, shouldn't have sex, shouldn't do this, you give birth, you carry it. Like, it's an emotional roller coaster from day 1 to 2. That's why you have women who literally have postpartum afterwards, who sometimes, have so much depression and so many issues that they can't even be around their child. Like, they need counseling immediately. There are women who have murdered their children in postpartum because they couldn't deal with the stresses. Like, it's beautiful. It can be beautiful, but it can also be traumatic for some women, because it's not easy. It's not.
Let me ask you this, Alana, and this is maybe
I've had 4 of them.
Yeah. And so let me ask you this, and this is, and this is obviously no defense, because I personally believe that women should be making these choices regardless of what the situation is. I believe this is their choice, their body. We've heard that a million times. The question, first of all, let me read this comment too. We need better prenatal health care so these babies are born healthy and ready to go. I mean, if that's possible, great. So basically we're relying on science, but then of course those same people want to deny science in another facet. But the question I was going to ask you, Lana, is I don't think everybody, when we talk about abortion, we talk about women who get pregnant, who, for whatever reason, they get pregnant because of rape, they get pregnant because of incest. They're pregnant and they believe there's something that could happen to the life of the mother. There's also the women who get pregnant who just decide they don't want to have a baby because they want to, continue to live their life and do their thing. Is there a distinguishable difference? And the reason why I'm asking is for anybody like Owen Benjamin who might have this thought is there a distinction between somebody who says, I don't want to have a baby just because, so I'm going to get pregnant. Maybe I had 2, 3, 4 abortions. Is that something that anybody may have a point on? Is it something where you would say, hey, maybe you want to reconsider and have the baby? Or again, should always be the woman's choice? And that's why I defer to the woman.
Yeah, I mean, it should always be the woman's choice.
I agree.
Let's be honest. Of course, there are women who are probably like, slept around like, oh, I don't want this, right? Of course.
And I don't think any of us go, that's cool, and none of us go, if you get 4 or 5 abortions and you just kind of look foolish.
But that's minimum, right?
Yeah,
like
correct.
in the scope of all of the women, that's a minimum. That's not.
They're in the minority.
They're very much, right? That's not a lot. Because let me tell you, I've had friends that have had abortions. My best friend had one because she's older, right? So if she's older, she's thinking she's premenopausal. She cannot. She thinks she can't. So then she does get pregnant. You, as an older woman, now you're like, right? Imagine an older woman in Texas or one of those places who finds themselves maybe in their 50s, right? Maybe thinking like, I'm menopausal.
Yeah.
I can't even have any babies.
Yeah.
And then in your 50s, you're pregnant in Alabama.
Yeah.
With the state telling you have to have a baby.
Yeah.
In your 50s.
Yeah.
Now what?
Yeah. Well,
your life is definitely at risk at that age. Then the baby is at risk for Down syndrome at that age. Like, there's so many issues with that. But hey, you're gonna have 6, and guess what? That's gonna be under Republican leadership, guaranteed that would be the new thing. It's gonna be children, elementary school, and it's gonna be older women in them southern states that find themselves grandmothers, great grandmothers, and actually mothers of infants as well.
Yeah. And let's not discount either. There is a lot of men who get the women pregnant, and they make the women feel very guilty about having that child and almost guilt them into an abortion. So, I talked about odds earlier with the Dolphins going to the Super Bowl. What are the odds Donald J. Trump didn't have somebody getting an abortion?
He talked about that, didn't he? Didn't he say like that was he was Donald Trump was a Democrat. Donald Trump's not even a Republican, you fools.
Yeah, right? Exactly.
He's not even a Republican. He's whatever he can grift the most.
Yep.
If Democrats or as crazy as Republicans were, he would be a Democrat right now.
Yeah.
But he knows that he can make more money off of Republicans. He can get y'all to do what you want, what he wants you to do. You open your wallets to him. You're racist. You're not all of you, but there's a lot of you that are racist and bigots. That's where he knows he can do the most damage and get the most gain. Yeah. So that's who he is right now. He started off as a Democrat.
Yeah, there's absolutely no question that was his whole plan. By the way, if Owen Benjamin Highlights is still watching, what are, I'm curious as to somebody who seems to have a different viewpoint. Is yours a religious viewpoint? What is your viewpoint on as to why you think there isn't an issue with, why some people should be let's just call it forced to have the child. And if you want to respond, you can, before we move on.
An abortion. Like for myself, it would have to be an extreme circumstance.
Yeah.
When I had my last one, me and my ex thought we were done, right?
Yeah.
And he actually said, you don't have to do this, right? Because I cried. I'm like, what the hell? Right? Because my other ones were older. I think there's like a 6 year. Yeah, 6 years, right? Between. So I was like, oh, right? He's like, no, you don't have to do this.
Yeah.
He said that to me. You have a choice.
Yeah.
Like, you put it in my hands.
Yeah.
It wasn't about what he wanted. And this was my husband at the time. It wasn't about what he wanted. It was about, do you want this? Are you okay with this? Because who wants to push a woman to have a child that didn't want to have that child? Like, what is that look? What does that look like? It's like, what?
Yeah.
So,
no, and again, it's, and I hate to even say it's not a touchy issue. It's really black. I mean, black and white.
Men should be concerned, Brian. Like, are you serious right now? Y'all are on the hook for child support. So y'all definitely should be like, you know what? Nah, right? It's our choice. How are y'all saying? Because you're going to be set up for child support. Like,
again, like I said, I don't understand the political play. I mean, I don't know if this puts, I think for the last couple elections, Democrats have been trying to put Texas in the blue column. I don't know if this maybe pushes it over the top. I mean, they've been sort of close, but Texas seems pretty intent on staying where they're at. But you never know. So, before we move on to the next topic, we talked about comedians, so-called comedians last week, and we're going to touch on them just a little bit more later because we got a lot of comments about the comedians on a segment that we really didn't even plan. This was towards the end of the show. I asked you if you wanted to bring something else up, and you said that Owen Benjamin guy. But I want to play this clip about, because it's been, when abortion goes on, some clips start to recircle. One of the greatest comedians of all time, George Carlin, talking about Republicans and abortion. And I just thought, since we were talking about it tonight, it's such a serious topic, but we can at least end it with a smile on our face with the brilliant words of the brilliant comedian, George Carlin.
Boy, these conservatives are really something, aren't they? They're all in favor of the unborn. They will do anything for the unborn. But once you're born, you're on your own. Pro-life conservatives are obsessed with the fetus from conception to 9 months. After that, they don't want to know about you. They don't want to hear from you. No, nothing. No neonatal care, no daycare, no Head Start, no school lunch, no food stamps, no welfare, no nothing. If you're pre-born, you're fine. If you're preschool, you're fucked. You're fucked. Conservatives don't give a shit about you until you reach military age. Then they think you are just fine, just what they've been looking for. Conservatives want live babies so they can raise them to be dead soldiers. Pro-life. Pro-life. These people aren't pro-life, they're killing doctors. What kind of pro-life is that? What, they'll do anything they can to save a fetus, but if it grows up to be a doctor, they just might have to kill it? They're not pro-life. You know what they are? They're anti-woman. Simple as it gets. Anti-woman. They don't like them. They don't like women. They believe a woman's primary role is to function as a broodmare for the state. Pro-life. You don't see many of these white anti-abortion women volunteering to have any black fetuses transplanted into their uteruses, do you? No, you don't see them adopting a whole lot of crack babies, do you? No, that might be something Christ would do.
All right, so that guy is brilliant. I'm very upset he's dead because he was one of the greatest comedians of all time. And this was at a time, this was 30 years ago, when abortion was always, an issue, but he was saying this 30 years ago. He was defending gays 30 years ago. He was defending black people 30 years ago. He was defending, things that were not as popular, but we were in a time where it was starting to, we were starting to progress, and he was one of the leaders of that progression for sure.
Republicans have not changed.
They have not changed at all.
30 years ago, he took off everything.
Yeah, 100%.
They're anti, maternal care, anti-doctor lines, like everything that he took off. They're anti. They vote against now. To this day, they're voting against it. The people voted against manufacturing more baby formula.
Yeah,
I mean, go figure. But we want the baby.
So we'll move on to the next subject, but the final comment from Owen Benjamin highlights. And by the way, thank you for joining the show. We welcome anybody in here, whether you agree with us, whether you disagree with us. We welcome anybody in here, but has a plan for babies after they're born. Just saying. I mean, I don't disagree with that. I mean, I think everybody should have a plan for their baby when they're born. But I think
Benjamin wants to have them work on the plantation. Just saying.
Oh, that's a highlight of Owen Benjamin, which, by the way, first time I ever heard of him was last week, and now he's in my face again. But that's okay. We like I said, we welcome him, and hopefully he stays with the show and continues to comment, because next we are going to move on to Jack Smith. we have not talked about Jack Smith in a while, but Jack Smith just recently filed something that Donald Trump, I'm sure, is, well, I think a lot of Trump people and Donald Trump that thinks that this is at some point going to help him. But from everything that I've seen, not necessarily. There is a, like I said, they filed something to the Supreme Court to see whether or not he was basically immune from prosecution because he was president at the time. And a lot of Democrats, or not, I shouldn't say Democrats, a lot of people who want Donald Trump to go to jail are nervous about this filing because they are afraid that a Donald Trump Supreme Court may rule in his favor. But from my understanding, it's not really worked out that way. You have a face, Lana. What's the face? Do you know something?
Well, okay, so no. Well, the face is a couple of faces. Like, why would they be nervous that he, as a Supreme Court, like nervous about the filing because it's going to go to the Supreme Court anyway?
Right.
So that's that point. That it's going there.
Well, because I think it's the same thing. I think a lot of people, including myself, I don't understand every bit of this process. So I think that they hear Supreme Court and they think, oh, it's Donald Trump's and this is the end all be all. But you're absolutely right. But the move here is to do it now and get it out of the way. So that way we have the ruling. Yeah. Exactly. And that's, people say it's a roll of the dice, but from my understanding, it turns out it's not. There are some people that were on a panel on CNN that talked about this. Before anybody goes, oh, there they go with CNN again. I don't watch CNN. I just happen to see these people talk about it. I will guarantee you they are better experts on this than me and not you, Lana. But you out there making those comments,
for sure.
I'll let you speak for yourself. So, we're gonna let's watch the clip of them talking about Jack Smith's filing with the Supreme Court.
Men, this afternoon, the special counsel arguing nothing could be more vital to our democracy than that the president who abuses the electoral system to remain in office is held accountable for criminal conduct. I know this is just coming out, Kristen, but are you hearing anything from the Trump campaign?
They haven't responded yet, but I do think that we should pay attention to, as Elliot said, looking at the timeline. And that's really what it is about for the Trump people as well. When I talk to them about when this trial is going to happen, they do believe that the March trial is going to happen before the election, that of course being the special counsel's investigation into his overturning or attempting to overturn the 2020 election. But they do still think there is some wiggle room because of the fact that this was going to the appeals court, because of the fact that they believe that they can delay it. I mean, they are going to try and do every single thing they possibly can to push this past the election because they think that Donald Trump can win the election and he's not sitting in trial every single day. So that is very interesting in this to me, the fact that they have clearly kind of called them on their game and said, okay, you're waiting here, you push this to the appeals court, now we're just going to get it over with. So that takes one element out. One of the things that actually Trump and his team were relying on, having this be a lengthy process.
And there's a little bit of gamesmanship there because the Trump team could have appealed to a three-judge panel of the Court of Appeals. If they didn't get a decision they liked there, they could have then appealed it to the full Court of Appeals. And then if they didn't like the decision there, they could have then taken it to the Supreme Court. Even under the best of circumstances for the Trump team, that could have taken months. And I think, like you said, it's calling the bluff. Yeah. Now, again, the Supreme Court doesn't have to agree to it, as we know, but this was a very aggressive step by the prosecutors to move this case along.
It's huge because really the Trump legal strategy boils down to delay, delay, delay. And there was a hope that this constitutional question, which has never been decided before, would take a little while to get through the appellate process, possibly even go en banc, then go to the Supreme Court. And they hope that it could at least delay this trial, which has a ripple effect on other criminal trials, until after the election. So it's clear the special counsel is like, nope, we're going to try this option. This is aggressive. This is the first time they've gone to the Supreme Court. Now the question is whether the Supreme Court wants to do this, if they want to completely reject the request or meet them halfway and maybe just say to the appellate court, look, we all know time is of the essence here. There is a public interest. Let's move it along. Let's not sit on this one for a year.
Basically what you were saying is that, I mean, they're basically bypassing these appellate courts and all that stuff to allow Donald Trump to delay, as they say, because they do believe he feels like he has a good chance of winning the election, and it's possible that he could. So Jack Smith is basically saying, we're not going through this bullshit. We're going to get right to the ruling that we know, and as Lana just said and pointed out, that is going to eventually get there. Let's just knock all this shit out and let's go. And I brought up the Palmer report before, and this guy seems to know what he's talking about, but he, is basically, he calms the water for a lot of people who lose their minds over this stuff. And, basically what he was saying is it is a good move for Jack Smith because the Supreme Court has proven that they're not just giving into whatever Donald Trump wants and, at all times. And I think if they look at any, if I'm not mistaken, there might have been something in some civil courts that were in previous rulings that stated because you were president, it had nothing to do with it. And I might be wrong. So, forgive me if I got that wrong, but I think the move here is just to say, let's get past all this crap and let's move forward.
Yeah. I just think all this talk is just media talk. We got to big this up because there's only one decision that can be made. Of fucking course you cannot commit crimes as fucking president and then be immune. Like all this chatter that we're doing, like, oh, what is the Supreme Court gonna? There's only one thing and one thing only that they can do and how they can rule. That's it. If they want to kick it back to the appellate court and be like, you guys do what you have to do, but you got to do it real quick.
Yep.
The appellate court can only do one thing, and it's to say, you're not fucking immune. Because guess what? That means that the guy that's in there now, that y'all already call the crime family, he can be doing the crime in. Y'all can't come back and be like, well, when Biden was in the White House, he was doing the crime. Oh, how is he doing the crime if he's the president? Because the presidents are immune. Like, you can't, that's not going to be, that's precedent. That would set a whole fucking precedent.
Yeah, I mean, and
there's only one ruling with that. And they know that they're only the tactic, like everyone's saying it's all to delay and like, yeah, kick it back to the appellate court.
And see, that's the thing I don't understand, though. And again, that's why I talked to you about too. I don't understand. So we could go all the way to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court could kick it back to a lower court. I thought the Supreme Court was the end all be all.
Well,
what is the kicking?
They want to say that they want to hear it. I don't think they've agreed to hear it yet.
I actually, if I'm not mistaken, I think they did.
I know Trump has to respond, but I didn't think they agreed to take it on.
You know what? You may be right, and I thought I saw something, and I'm sure that probably would be pretty big news if they did agree to take it on. But
I think they gave.
I think the idea is that they will, right?
But I don't know if they can until Trump responds.
Right, that's right. That's exactly right. They gave him a certain date to respond.
The 20th, right?
Correct. Yeah.
And they
okay.
have to respond, and then I think once they hear the motion, the response, then they figure out if they want to take it on or say no. You have to do the proper procedure, do the appellate. But now the thing, if they do go to send it back to the appellate and don't tell them to speed it up, then that becomes a problematic thing. That's the thing where they're working for Trump, right? If they send it back to the appellate and the appellate takes like months or whenever they want to, which is still ridiculous because how hard is this? Like, this one is not rocket science.
Slam dunk for anybody that's serious about the law.
Right. Like, how, and what? Okay, you guys said you can't indict a sitting president or whatever the fuck Comey and all of them were saying, right? And that's not even a law, right? Isn't that some unwritten rule? Like a sitting president can't be indicted. Is that what that was?
Correct.
Right. So now you're saying that a sitting president can actually commit crimes, though. Like,
I think that was the premise too of oh gosh, I'm drawing a blank. Who was the guy who did the whole investigation? No, not Comey. Oh, damn it. Robert De Niro played him on Saturday Night Live all the time when he was doing the I'll remember his name, but the older gentleman that they just said that would anyway. But thank you for explaining that, and that's why I am grateful that you got onto the show, because if I had to go on and do this live by myself,
you would have been fine.
Okay, I appreciate your confidence in me. If anybody's out there watching, if you can give me the name of the person who investigated the whole Russia investigation, Robert Mueller.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
I think he said the same thing. He was basically like, if he wasn't president, that this could be prosecuted.
Right.
Yep.
Right. You get indicted after. Like, stop playing with us right now. Stop playing these fucking mind games. Like, that's what it frustrates me to even hear them talk about this Jack Smith thing, because we're actually talking about Trump's, like, what they're saying, like it's some real possibility, like he could be found. He was because literally, if a court finds that, every single case is just thrown out. Like
then you are really going to push for one of those authoritarian type presidents that can do whatever the fuck they want, and we are no longer the United States of America, and even these
every
constitutional assholes who love the Constitution will throw that fucking book right out the window when they get their authoritarian president.
Every criminal can run for president because you can commit all the crimes you want as a president.
Yeah.
It's done. That's why this is stupid. We already know what the end result of this. So Jack Smith is right. Go to Supreme Court. Supreme Court should absolutely hear this and just fucking say, no, you can't do that, man, and send it back. What the fuck is he gonna do to them? He can't do anything to them. They're already on the Supreme Court.
Yeah, it's a joke.
Shit anymore.
It's a joke, and that's why I have these. When I get these comments all the time on these people, and again, the funny thing is that they think they're getting under my skin, or they think they bother me. I promise you don't. I mean, it's laughable because all of it is incoherent. A lot of it doesn't make any sense. But what I sometimes every once in a while somebody has a half-ass attempt at making trying to at least get a civil discussion going, and as I try to tell them, you and I, brother, are in the same boat. You don't understand. You think that this is going to be good for you. These tyrannical authoritarian type dictator like guys, they fucking laugh at you. They don't like you. They will fuck you the same way they're gonna fuck me. So I mean, it's not gonna work out well for you.
But that guy won. That's what's most important.
Well,
he won. Right. I won. You're a loser.
Yeah. All right. Well, from one indictment to another, we have a sitting president that seems to be in big trouble with the Republicans. Big trouble. There are indictments, or at least there's an investigation on the way. And by the way, I don't know if you know this or not, and this will upset anybody that is on Lana and I's side. It looks as if Hunter Biden's official run for president may be over.
Oh man, I was going to vote for Hunter too.
Yeah, I mean, I hope maybe, and I don't know if I should say this publicly, but you and I will text back together about a plan to storm some sort of building. I don't know what building yet, to get Hunter out of this. But boy, are we mad. By the way, just side note, none of us give a fuck about Hunter Biden. Please understand that. None of us care, and none of us are stupid enough to associate Hunter Biden. By the way, this guy's spending money on gambling. He's my fucking hero. What are you kidding me? I love this guy. He's out gambling. He's out. Yeah. Anyway, we don't care about Hunter. We don't think we're not afraid of any association between Hunter and his father.
No.
We're not stupid. We don't buy into this stuff. And how any of you buy into this stuff by listening to the lead guy on this, James Comer, right? he sounds like a buffoon every single time he talks about this. And it is, I mean, it's crazy, but let's start off with what the investigation so far has turned up into. Yeah, no, it's definitely laughable. But the by the way, this is not the investigation for a impeachment. This is an investigation for an impeachment inquiry. Let's see what they've come up with.
No direct evidence between financial payments from foreign governments and the president himself. That is something that Republicans are trying to get to the bottom of, they say. But that evidence, when you ask them, they cannot confirm where that evidence exists. So that's a key component here.
Yeah, that seems to be a key component in every fucking investigation is evidence. What are we doing?
I mean, it's just like you just said. I forgot what you called it, but like, it's all a game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have to step back from all of this and just know it's the game. It's the game with the politicians, the media. She just reported on that like it was some big shit. When she knows, because as she had to follow up with, when asked, they don't have anything like. But they have to like make it seem like it's this big salacious. It's nothing. There's not. They've been doing this for how many years? Like, it's so.
She was the woman that was sent by from the Weather Channel to where the hurricane was, and then no hurricane came through, and she was like, "Well, fuck. I mean, it's actually sunny here now. There's not even. I mean, the gust of wind might be up to 3 miles an hour." So I'm not sure we go, but I want to give, in fairness, there's a counter to this. Maria Bartiromo, we brought her up earlier from Fox News, had somebody on to discuss what the evidence actually is. So maybe this will change your mind, Lana. Okay. Take a listen.
Let's go. The most damning piece of evidence.
I think the most damning piece of evidence is the $5 million that came from Burisma that really kicked this whole thing off, because then Vice President Biden confirmed it in an interview. He said, "Yeah, I shut down that investigation that Shokin was doing in the Ukraine, and there was $20 million that followed that."
Yeah. So I want to bring this up real quick. He's talking about something that happened years ago when Joe Biden was vice president, is that he was on camera being asked about this whole Burisma deal, and the people in Ukraine were not investigating it hard enough, and or that he wanted to remove anybody that may investigate this, and that he was so-called bragging about getting rid of the prosecutor. But I do want to share this article real quick if I can bring this up. Lana, have you learned this on StreamYard yet? How to bring up articles?
I haven't learned much of anything.
Okay. See, my problem is I have 77 windows open, and I did not prepare myself.
Do you kind of share your?
Oh, here it is.
Kind of like Zoom?
Yeah. Tell me if you could see this.
Yes.
Okay.
So you like sharing? Yes,
you could share whatever window you want that's open. You just hit the share window button. But this is a narrative that has been debunked, not only just by whatever news organization you want to, the CNNs, the MSNBCs that you say are biased, not just from the president himself, not just from other Democrats, but a Republican investigation impeached or debunked this whole thing too. But here's the play. The play is they know all they have to do is just give this idea that Joe Biden is crooked and he is, he's on the take or whatever it is they want to say, to try to get more people to look at Joe Biden and Donald Trump as the same person. So when you go and vote, you just go, well, you know what, this Donald Trump's better because he's going to be better for the economy, and they're both criminals. But anyway, this is an article from Axios that basically debunks that House Republicans' impeachment inquiry into President Biden is predicated on allegations about the firing of a Ukrainian prosecutor that has been debunked under oath by at least 9 government witnesses. And why that matters is the House will vote this week on formally authorizing the inquiry, the prelude to what many expect to become articles of impeachment against Biden for alleged bribery, abuse, and power of obstruction. I don't think that's going to happen. House Judiciary Chair Jim Jordan confirmed as much last week, telling reporters that that possible impeachable offenses mainly center on alleged quid pro quo in Ukraine in early 2016. I want to get to the part where it shows. I mean, actually, I wish I would have printed. I wanted to print that out because I can highlight it a little bit better. But the bottom line is that this whole inquiry is based on stuff that's been debunked a million times, but they're just using it to try to fool the American public into thinking that Joe Biden and Donald Trump are the same thing. That's really what it boils down to.
It's so stupid because common sense would tell you they're talking about when Biden was vice president.
Yeah.
Wasn't Trump president afterwards?
It is.
So if Trump
100% true.
If Trump was president afterwards, and if they had stuff on Joseph Biden, then you would think that Trump's Justice Department would have moved on that to do something. Like, of course, you couldn't impeach him because he was out of office, but you can indict him on some stuff, right? Like, you could have called some stuff out, but he said nothing. There was nothing because there is nothing. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, the problem is that, again, we understand they can try to fool each other all they want to. I mean, do you remember literally after Donald Trump even won the presidency, when he got in office, he formed a committee to go out and find out why Hillary Clinton showed more votes than him, because that could not have been possible.
Right.
They put together a committee. They came back and go, yeah, that was actually right. And it just dissolved and it went away and nobody talked about it anymore. You know, it's just, this is why it drives me so crazy. I really wish, and that's why I said that our news, our politics has become professional wrestling, whether it's mainstream media, whether it's army, whether it's Fox News, whatever it is, it's all just crazy, kooky bullshit that people buy into now. And it's more of a who talks better, who, has more, I don't know, whatever the polls are saying. It's irritating.
Yeah, at least they're honing in on him saying he's a dictator. Like, they're really on that. Like, I appreciate the fact that they are at this point taking it serious, taking him serious, outlining what will happen if this dictator comes into office. Like, I'm glad they're at least doing that.
Yeah. And I think that's why it's important, too, that we do get 1-2 of these cases in before the election, too. So the American people do see that this is actually more serious than maybe even they're taking it at this point right now. Because I'm not sure that they are. I'm not sure that they really understand. You and I have talked about this before. 2024 is going to be fucking wild. And you're going to see something and stuff that happens in this country that you have never seen and that you never thought you would see before.
Yeah, I was just talking about that with a friend. And I'm like, wow, if we thought that MAGAs are bold right now and that Trump presidency was crazy, imagine 4 more years of that.
Yeah.
Imagine the MAGAs with Trump coming back talking about retribution. Oh, they're going to think they can do anything.
They will lose their minds.
Yeah.
You know, I was talking about this with somebody today, though. They're like, well, gosh, what if he loses? That might be more dangerous. Nah, it's not. And they're like, what do you mean? I said, listen, these MAGA people talk a big game. They talk a lot of shit. When it comes down to it, if he loses, they'll scream for a week or two and then they'll go away.
Because he's an old ass man. Like,
he's an old ass man. And not to mention, they saw what the fuck happens to you when you break the law based on what this fucking idiot is telling you. Right. And at some point they're like, you know what? That's probably not cool, because the lawmakers and the law officials are saying, you know, you guys can't do whatever you want. You can't go and storm the Capitol. You can't go and cause violence because this guy, you will go to jail.
Right.
So I want to play a couple more clips. Jake Tapper, did you see him with James Comer? He literally laughed in his face.
No, I don't think I saw that one.
Yeah, this one's worth watching because he was asking James Comer about his investigation into Joe Biden, and it's gold.
So we think that this is just the tip of the iceberg. We think there are many more crimes. And my concern is that Weiss may have indicted Hunter Biden to protect him from having to be deposed.
Yes.
In the House Oversight Committee on Wednesday.
He indicted him to protect him. Yes. The classic rubric. He indicted him to protect him. I got it.
Well, look, this whole thing's been about a cover-up. You know, you've got two.
That's why he indicted him to protect him, to cover it up.
Well, you indict him on the least little thing, the gun charge, and not paying taxes.
He's facing like 17 additional years in prison.
Yeah, but look what he's done. Anybody.
So that's really how all these people should be treated. Me personally, I hate that news has gotten to this point, but because it has, that's exactly how it needs to be treated. You need to laugh in these people's face.
Yeah, like, you're fucking stupid. Like, wait, what?
Yeah.
We're not going to let you just say any fucking thing. Like, stop playing right now.
Well, James Comer did not like that very much, so he had to run to Newsmax, and Newsmax was much more friendly, and they discussed this little exchange between Jake Tapper and James Comer. Let's hear how that went.
He's making your investigation sound like a joke, and he's trying to make you...
I'm not sure he's making it sound, but...
Oh my God.
And then half of America sees that, and they think your investigation is a joke. How do you work around that? How do you work through that?
Wow. Well, that's the first time I went on CNN in 3 months. We thought we would give it a try. You know, Jake Tapper is an intelligent guy, but he's playing to a low IQ audience. You know,
he's saying that on Newsmax,
hemorrhaging viewers every day. And Jake's doing what he's told by his bosses at CNN, who are doing what they're told by their bosses at the Democrat National Committee. I mean, CNN is a wholly owned, unprofitable subsidiary of the Democrat National Committee.
You know you're a bullshit artist when you can go on Newsmax and say that CNN has no viewers and they play to a low IQ audience.
Right.
Classic.
Right. It's like, you bombed on CNN, you look like a fool. So now everyone's like texting like, okay, we got to fix this. Come on, Newsmax, we'll spin it. And so here he is spinning it. Like, it's so wow. If you're not tapped in, I totally understand why some people get lost in it. Like, you just cannot follow. Like, some people literally say, I don't know who's telling the truth, because the right has put so much fucking shit out there. Like, it's not even the left, right? We're pretty consistent over on our side.
Yeah.
But on the other side, they're just throwing you all kinds of shit. If this doesn't work, we're over here. It's insane.
Well, they did that with the attack on the Capitol, right? They one day it was Antifa and BLM, and it was the DOJ, but it was
changes, right?
Yeah,
Trump
then it was
the best economy, but he fucking fucking had us in debt. Like, how can both things be true?
It's just it's the defense of a guy who's been a lifelong con man, and they fall for it every fucking time. I mean, the guy literally said, "I love undereducated people." Why the fuck do you think he loves them?
That part. They heard it out of his mouth.
Yeah.
And they just ignore it. Like, who did they think he was talking to?
Exactly. I mean, and they're all looking at each other like, well, hey, me, that's who's that in there?
Right, exactly.
Oof.
Was it the Democrats? Like,
yeah.
You guys.
I don't know, man. Like I said, 2024 is going to be wild, and we're almost there. What are we, fucking 19 days away?
Oh my God, that's insane.
Yep. So, all right. Time to wrap up the show, but before we go, we're going to play the game that Lana's going to hate.
Sure.
You're going to hate it.
I know. You're going to force me to listen to Donald Trump.
Nope, not at all. Not
Okay,
once. Good. It's not going to be once about Donald Trump. The name of this game is Make Lana Laugh. Okay.
That's
and
easy. What you mean?
Okay. So we got a lot of comments last week on the conservative comedians. And so I thought I'd give a couple of clips of conservative comedians so we could take a listen and see if they can make you laugh. Now, wait a minute. I want to be fair here. You have to laugh at their jokes. You can't laugh at them.
Okay.
You understand?
Yeah.
So the first one, and by the way, anybody watching this, you could go, oh, he's just nitpicking clips here or there. Send me any fucking clip you want of any conservative comedian that is talking politically, like George Carlin did brilliantly earlier. Send them to me. I swear I'll be fair. I'll tell you if it's funny, if it's not funny. But these are just a few clips of some of the people that I have found online. Jim Breuer, you might know him. He was a former cast member of Saturday Night Live. I actually was a fan of Jim Breuer. In fact, Jim Breuer is a diehard Mets fan. So am I. And he used to do these videos during the 2015 run where the Mets actually went to the World Series, and they were huge on Twitter with Mets fans. They actually got national, and it was cool. I loved watching it. But he turned into one of these, anti-COVID, anti-vaccine sort of guys. Mm-hmm. And now his biggest plays seem to be at conservative conventions and stuff like that. But here is Jim Breuer, talking about the COVID outbreak at the time. He might even talk about vaccine. By the way, Lana, at any time, I'm going to let the clip play for a certain amount of time, but you can tap out at any time. Okay. All right. Here's Jim Breuer.
For risking your lives to be here. I'm sure you've had. Wait, you're going indoors? They're going indoors to a comedy event, and people are on top of each other. The numbers, this is very dangerous. Are you gonna, please tell me you're gonna quarantine before Memorial Day weekend, Charlie. You can tell who's been vaccinated. They walk in with a lot of confidence. I've been vaccinated. I ain't afraid of COVID no more.
Okay, I'm tapping that one out.
OMG. STF. Like, what is that?
Did that make you laugh?
Didn't we talk about this last week? How they're fucking corny as fuck. Like, they make jokes about fucking Nancy Pelosi's husband getting beat on the head by a hammer, and they think that shit is funny. Too soon?
Yeah.
Too soon?
I
baffled. I'm fucking. Where are we right now?
I compared this one time before on this show. I am a huge fan of South Park. I think it is a brilliantly written show. Might not be for everybody, but the show is brilliantly. It's cartoons, but it's so brilliantly written. And there was one episode where, and I brought this up before, where the racist little asshole on the show, Cartman, found out that he can make a lot of money just by writing songs, but just putting the word Jesus in it, because it's just kind of a, they're going to buy it no matter what, because Jesus' name is in it. And of course it worked. But this is sort of the same thing. It's kind of like, I'm going to be the comedian that will just say things about COVID. It doesn't even matter what it is. It doesn't even matter if it's funny, but if I put on a couple funny voices, people will laugh.
Exactly what he did.
And I'll be their hero.
It was so stupid.
It was very stupid. So, but anyway, this next gentleman is named, apparently he's big on the conservative comedian circuit, is JP Sears. Are you familiar with JP?
Hell no.
Okay. Well, he did a hilarious bit about gender identity.
Ooh.
This is going to be really... I'm not going to set it because I'm going to, if this makes you, I want to see if it makes you laugh. Okay. Hold on. Here we go.
Did you just assume my gender? You just assumed my gender.
I didn't even know you had a gender.
Hey guys.
Are you referring to us as guys? You, my friend, are not my friend and you are canceled.
Hey, do y'all happen to have the time?
How dare you assume that I can tell time? And it's 13:68 o'clock.
How's it going?
So you're assuming that I'm going? Can you believe this guy?
That is not your directional objective.
Lovely weather we're having.
Oh, so you
Tapping
think
out?
climate change is like...
Okay, so I don't even know which one the comedian is in that sketch. I have no idea. I assume it's not the woman, and there's two other guys to choose from.
What's that?
I mean, in some circles, it's hilarious.
But how?
Because it is cheap, bottom of the barrel humor for bottom of the barrel listeners.
But it just wasn't like, okay, so that wasn't even like inappropriate and it wasn't even funny. Are you assuming I could tell time?
I can laugh really at anything. I mean, it's very hard to offend me. And when I watch that, I don't watch it going, oh my God, you offend me. I watch it like, that's just not even fun.
Right,
like,
it's
on the premise of being funny.
No,
and it's not even close to funny.
They didn't even try to write a joke. That's where was the joke? Where was the punchline? Where did you go?
I don't know.
Like, where was that? Where was that part?
And that's why it seems, by the way, Owen Benjamin Highlight says, I got back just in time for the laughs. Have a great night, everybody. You have a great night as well. We really appreciate you joining the show.
Yeah,
hopefully you come back. If you have any Owen Benjamin stuff you'd like to send me that you think is hilarious. Yeah. Now, again, he might have some side shit that might be funny about relationships, shit like that. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the political.
I'm never going to think he's funny. He said slavery was funny, so I'm over it.
Right.
I can't do that unless he has apologized, and I didn't hear that. But.
Yep. So I won't, we won't even, we won't play him for Lana either. And by the way, I was going to really torture you because I was looking for like 10 clips, but I couldn't even take it anymore. So I only have 3. So I only have one more.
That's fine. Let's see.
Okay. So this last one, this guy's name is Tim Hawkins. And Tim is on stage doing what appears to be his signature song, kind of like Adam Sandler does with the Hanukkah song every year and things like that. I think I saw a little sketch before, and then I saw this clip where he's on stage and he's singing the song. So this apparently probably maybe be his signature thing that makes just the crowd go nuts. So let's see if this one can make Lana laugh.
You like, you want free college, energy, mortgages, whatever you like. You have come to the right place. Why? Well, I'm going to tell you why. Who can take your money? Who can take your money? With a twinkle in their eye. A twinkle in their eye. Take it all away and give it to some other guy. The government. The government can. The government can. And who can tax the sunrise? Who can tax the trees? Who can tax the trees? Let you run a business and collect up all the fees. The government. The government can.
Okay, you know, at these clubs, they have a 2-drink minimum, I think. And there's a reason for that, because they want people to kind of lose their inhibitions a little bit and get a little looser and laugh at some of the things. And some people in the crowd thought it was funny, and I'm assuming they might have known who he was. Lana, I think the conservative comedians were 0 for 3.
Who could tax the sunrise? I mean, what government was he talking about?
And this is the other narrative too, that people come into the country, or there are certain people in the country that just get free mortgages. I don't even know what free mortgages mean. But
I haven't talked to you. Oh my God. So I did I don't even know what it was, a radio show last week. And I should have known better, whatever, long story short. Got on there. I should have known, because this guy, he would say certain things on there about like Biden, but then he would say stuff about Republicans. I'm like, oh, you don't fucking like Republicans. So I got on the stupid show. But they were the kind of, so like black men. But these were the kind of black men that would vote for Trump.
Yep.
Those kind of guys.
Yeah.
I was very, and I should have known, because all of a sudden it was like, because they got me on the show on the premise of how to like bring money into the black community, black economic wealth, that kind of thing.
Did they even talk about that with you?
It started off like that on this, on the show. It wasn't live, it was audio. Basketball, buying basketball teams, you know what I mean? LeBron, blah, blah, blah. But then they started like bigging up Ice Cube. Then I knew it was a fucking problem. I should have gotten off then, because I'm like, these dudes like Ice Cube, right? Because I cannot stand Ice Cube, but they were just like, whatever. And then they started with, they would rather vote for a third party than vote for Biden. And I'm like, you would rather have Trump as the president? Why? What? No, Biden hasn't had any policies good for the black community. And Trump hasn't had any policies bad for the black community.
Wow.
So it's like, they don't hear what they're saying. So if you think that Biden's policies aren't good, so you won't vote for him, but Trump's policies aren't good either, but he hasn't had any bad ones, so you vote for him. Like, so they don't understand. There's a segment, because I know you don't really go deep into this because you probably feel like you can't really talk about it, but there is a segment of the black community that thinks that the administration that's there is supposed to just give them reparations. Like, you're supposed to have I think I DM'd you. You're supposed to have this money in hand. They don't understand that if black people are impacted disproportionately on most things, for instance, diabetes, right? Diabetes impacts the black community disproportionately because of healthcare, whatever, not being able to afford medication. When Biden caps the cost of insulin, that will then in turn help us more, right?
Yes.
But they don't connect that because it's not to the black community specifically, and that's it, right? Because it does all. They don't care if it helps us most, because then they'll be like, well, what's the percentage of the black people that is helping? Then it's not helping us.
Well, like you said, I try to be sensitive towards, some of the comments that I make based on race, based on women, based on gays, because I'm none of that, and I think for me, it's unfair to make a distinctive judgment on that. However, I am observational, and I do understand whether we're in the white community, the black community. I mean, I could sit here and talk about the white MAGAs all day, but I'm sure there is a segment of the black community that falls in that sort of MAGA category too. Not necessarily a Trump guy, but somebody that can be easily fooled into thinking that this works for you and this doesn't work for you. As I said before, I think 85 to 90% of the fucking country is politically stupid. So that's got to include everybody.
Right. Right. They think immigrants are a problem. You know what I mean? That's why that's the percentage, that 8% that Trump gets or whatever little percentage he gets, that's them. Those are the ones that think immigrants are taking the jobs. Like, and it's like, why do you think that they're having a better time than you? You don't fucking want those jobs. Shut the fuck up. Like, you don't want the same jobs that they're getting, and we need fucking immigrants. And you know who needs immigrants the fucking most? Fucking Arkansas, Idaho, all those places that want to have young children working now in those factories. Hey, how about letting immigrants come into your state? They'll gladly take those jobs in the factories, and then you don't have to have 13-year-olds working in your fucking factories anymore, getting hurt and losing limbs. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, there's also too, I mean, the fact that, again, we talk about the messaging, the Black unemployment in this country is the lowest of all time.
Right.
And of course, poverty, when you talk about poverty in the country, it strikes the Black community a lot. And so there is a party that is looking to get $15 an hour minimum. That is $30,000+ a year.
If it's not reparations, it's a segment that doesn't want to even talk about it.
But again, I think that's just that's their that's sort of the way they get to some of the people who just don't understand how things work, whether you're Black, you're white.
Trump is never going to give reparations. Republicans don't even want you to fucking vote. Why do you think they're going to cut you a check? And Obama didn't want to really broach it. I get why, they're kind of upset with him because he kind of didn't really handle it or talk about it and wanted to deal with it. But he came out there and he was like, because it's a big deal. Like, it's not just like, here's some checks. And that's what he said. We can't just have checks, because if you're given a check, then they're going to go,
right.
Don't ask us for anything else.
Yeah.
Diversity where? What? You can't talk about diversity now. We gave you a check. Shut the fuck up. We don't want no more complaints. Like, that was Obama's thing. Like, be careful what you ask for.
There's absolutely no question. Like I said, it's sort of the same mentality what they use on the white MAGA Republicans.
Right.
This started back with Ronald Reagan, where they were basically saying, don't be a welfare queen, pull yourself up from your bootstraps and you work hard and you do this. All in the meantime, while they're basically going, okay, rich guy, you could just take a little bit more from them, take a little bit more from them, and they're being suckered. They don't understand that every single time you vote for one of these people, they're finding a way to make you feel bad about yourself and to pull yourself up by your bootstraps and be a man and all this stuff. And it gets in their mind, because men have egos. And if you can challenge their manhood, it drives them fucking insane if you're not smart enough to understand what the fuck they're trying to do to you. And that's why I sometimes try to explain to everybody, you and I are in the same boat, dude. We are not separate. You might be mad that there's a transgender bathroom, but who gives a fuck? You're voting for a guy who's basically going to give your bosses more money while they take more out of your pocket and laugh at you while you defend them.
Right. Taking your Social Security while you're somewhere being upset and trying to figure out who's using whose bathroom. Some shit that's been going on for years and you never cared about it. Like, it's so dumb. Why are we so concerned about what other people hide in their pants and do in their bedrooms?
It really, like I said, I think that's obviously the whole scope of the Republican conservative movement is just to sucker. And they got the greatest sucker maker of all time, Donald Trump, to be their leader. They've been saying this for years. We know this can happen and we know how to do it. We just need the perfect vessel. We need the perfect vehicle. And they found a fucking junk car in a junk yard. They dressed it up. They put a new engine in there, basically in his brain. This is all you got to say. And he just goes, I got this.
It's amazing, right? Like, dude, you play his clips and he says the wrong shit, the wrong president of what country, like, just gets it all wrong. And they still,
Yeah.
And it's like,
he's a walking toupee. He's a clip-on tie. That's what he is. Everything about him has the appearance, but it's all fucking phony. Yeah, that's what he is. And it's just the fact that people believe it,
he doesn't even look strong. So what is it?
It's because he talks strong. It's that professional wrestling. He's good on the mic. He's the fucking Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin on the mic.
Correct, right?
Yep.
He'll come out there and be like, shithole countries, go back to your country, or you're not bringing your bash, you're bringing the rapists. Like, and you're right. He's speaking their language.
We are going to make Mexico pay for the wall. Oh, I heard he is ragging on Mexicans. That's in Mexico, and he's going to do this. And by the way, he didn't do it. He didn't do any of the shit he said he was going to do.
He didn't do it. And what is he doing now? He wants to be dictator for a day so he could do what? Build a wall and drill.
Yeah. Well, he had 4 years to build that wall. He couldn't get that done. Yeah.
And we heard a phone call, right? Didn't we hear a phone call with him trying to con the president of Mexico to just say yes? Or did we get the readout when he was like, just say something, just make me look good, give me something, like, because he wanted him to say something so people would think that a wall was going to be built.
Same thing he did with the election, where they basically said, you just come out and say that there was fraud and I'll handle the rest, is what he said.
Yeah.
And again, it's just a big grift. It's a big con. He's been that his entire life. I don't think it would make a difference even if they did, but I really wish people would look at Donald Trump prior to being the president of the United States. He was a fucking joke. Even people in real estate, real estate investors laughed at him. He wasn't even the top guy in New York City. Forget about, the fucking world like he presented himself. He was, this guy literally put on he made up a name of a press guy that he was for himself. John Barron, I think was the name, and called a magazine with he didn't even disguise his fucking voice, and was talking about how all the ladies love him and all this stuff, and just giving himself good PR to magazines. And they're even on there like, they're calling the people over going, holy, listen to this shit. This is fucking Donald Trump acting like he's somebody else.
He put himself on the cover of Time.
Ah, man.
Who does that? Something's wrong there, but
well, it's even more wrong. There are a lot of people in this country who have that cover of Time hanging up in their living room, hanging up in their bedrooms, hanging up in their kitchen, wherever it is.
It's so frustrating.
As their hero. Yeah.
It's frustrating. One of our interns said he had registered to vote by mail, because I was pushing him. He did it, whatever. He was like excited. And, we would talk politics. And he said, a while ago, I think that, they should bring back, some type of education in order to vote. And I'm like, they can't do that. But like, he was so right. I mean, of course you can't do that, but he was so right. Like, they almost need people to take tests.
Yeah.
Because these people are stupid.
They really, really are. And like I said, I think now we're following too many things that aren't real news. We're just following too many things that are, I think I told you before, I'm in a, people I used to work with, and I'm in this group text with them, and they always want to send me these memes like they're getting me on something. And I'm like, guys, really, is this your, and I said, I hope you're doing it just to quote unquote troll me, but I know they have that mentality. They have it, whether they're, trying to say they're joking or not. I know better. I know this is how you really feel. Because if we want to get into a serious conversation about any of it, you would just cower away and go. But I also want to point out too, if anybody makes it this far and they want to make some comments about what we're talking about, please do me one favor, like the call me an idiot, all that. I don't care about that stuff. And I'll just, I'll send a comment back to say thank you very much and have a great holiday season. But if you're trying to make a point, do me a favor, one at a time. don't ramble on with 15 points in the same fucking sentence. And I please.
Just know I will never read them.
No, I know you won't. Oh, listen, I'll handle that part. Don't worry about that. I don't even bother with it. Yeah, I don't even tell her. Every once in a while, I'll tell her, hey, this is what we got, and I'll get fucking weird ass messages.
Twitter is all I can handle. I can't handle another platform of.
Yeah. You handle the Twitter. Yeah. I'll handle these idiots. Yeah. And I'm sorry. I'll handle the listeners.
Yeah, they're not
the viewers, and we'll. But like I said, just please, one at a time. Don't and try to. No conspiracy theories. Lana, I think our longest show ever.
Oh my gosh.
Do you have anything else? Because last time I asked you this led to us talking about conservative comedians.
I don't know. I think something's going on because I did get a DM about Benjamin.
Is it time
Owen.
to check breaking news? I don't have any breaking news.
It's called Benjamin Owen. I don't even know. It says looks like you touched a nerve, and Owen talked about you for over an hour, and it's still going.
Owen talked about who? Is it about Owen Benjamin highlights?
I think because of the show last week that I did when I really talked about him.
Yeah.
I don't know. That would be nice if Owen Benjamin actually said something.
He talked about you?
I don't know. That's what she said. I don't know. She connected.
Is this a friend of yours?
Yes.
Okay.
And what she did was she put together a part of my show and me sipping water and then showing Benjamin's comments. That like me putting the water down, I don't know.
Oh, if he's talking about you, you need to invite him on your show.
Oh, we should, right?
Yeah. 100%.
We'll do that.
I mean, if you want to bring him on this show, that's fine. Or you can have him on your show, whichever one you want to do. You let me know.
If that's the thing, we'll do that. Because that would be really good.
Yep. And by the way, I was going to say earlier, the guys having you on their show, I'm at some point I'd like to have some guests on the show, whether they agree with us or they don't agree with us, but I'm not going to sabotage you and make you think you're coming on for a reason. And we'll understand why you're coming on and you'll understand why you're coming on. I mean, that's a pretty shitty move. Not that Lana can't handle it. I promise you she can.
Yeah, it's just weird. It's just awkward as hell. And they weren't mean about it, but just I was just like, what the fuck? I was like, do you not read my tweets? Because you already know where I stand. There's no way you didn't know where I stand on any of this stuff. I'm not gonna be here while you bashing Biden. He ain't perfect, but he ain't Trump. What the fuck?
Well, is it somewhere on? Was it video?
No, it's audio.
Okay.
Chewbacca's experience. I guess I could find the man. I don't care.
Yeah.
I didn't even understand it. It's it's Chewbacca's radio experience. I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Well, what I do know is that I appreciate Lana very much. And I think we are going to have your show on Thursday, correct? You're having your show Thursday?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So check out the Quest Show on YouTube. Lana does a phenomenal job. And then you get just Lana by herself. And sometimes that's better.
No, so I am lazy. That's why there's the Quest Show, because I may wake up Thursday and be like, I'm not doing it.
Oh, in fairness, I mean, the Quest Show started before this show. So she's been doing that on YouTube. So like and subscribe that show, please. She will be on at 8:00, maybe 8:05 or 8:10.
This is where we go to have it organized. It's on point. You have the clips. Show up Thursday when y'all just want to be casual.
Well,
and I'm not on time.
I got a little secret, by the way. I think the last couple shows, I scrambled a half hour right before the show to get some clips together. I didn't even know what the fuck I was going to talk. I mean, I had an idea, but
but it's still right. And that's why, podcasters, not just me and Brian, just podcasters in general that are out here doing this work. Like it is work, no matter how
Yeah.
you think, oh, you're not professional. You're not Rachel Maddow, right? Of course we're not. We don't have a teleprompter.
We drink wine during our show. And by the way, this is how I was told to hold a wine glass like this, and I'm not doing that. This is how I hold it up.
I just go like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but
anyway, you were saying.
But seriously, there's a lot of work, right? You have to write down the notes. We can't take a break from the news cycle. We have to kind of pay attention to what's happening every single day. Whereas, the professionals, they really don't have to. Someone's telling them. They have programs. Like I listen to Joe and Meek in the morning, and they literally open up a program and it pops up all of the headlines for them, and that's how they create their show.
They have producers, they have writers, they have all that stuff. Yeah.
So little podcasters like this, for anyone to come on and talk shit about podcasts, it's like, oh, you're little this, you're little, you don't have any subscribers. It's like, even if you have 10, 20, 30, you're still putting on a show. It still takes some work to do.
There's no well, first of all, it takes work and it takes time. And at the end of the day, as I have pointed out, and again, I don't like speaking for Lana, but I did say that, you and I like to do this regardless of if 2 people watch or 2,000 people watch. It is just something that you and I like to sit with each other, look in each other's eyes, and talk to each other about what we feel is the direction of this country, what we feel scares us, what we feel makes us happy, what we feel makes us sad, whatever the case is. And, I will do this as long as Lana wants to do it. And, we like doing it. And at some point, who knows? We got a nice amount of subscribers just over the last week. We had 1,400 people watching the live show. Now, of course, they didn't watch all hour and a half of it because a lot of the people who watched it just can't take what we're saying, which is understandable because I wouldn't be able to sit through an hour and a half.
So it's good that you do the clips. Like I get it. No one wants to sit who's going to do this for 2 hours?
Correct. Yeah. And
I get that.
Even some of my favorite shows, I don't know why I could sit through 2 hours of it, but yeah, we enjoy doing it. And I hope that at least some of you, and actually we did get I will say, Lana, that we did get more positive comments this time around, because again, it takes time for not just YouTube has an algorithm that somehow it always gets more to people who don't like us as opposed to people who do, or maybe some of the people who do like us just don't comment as much. It doesn't trigger them enough to make a comment. But either way, I enjoy anybody watching this show. I enjoy anybody's comments. No, I do not take any of them seriously. I'm happy to have a civil conversation with anybody out there that wants to, who disagrees with me, anybody that wants to yell at me, call me an idiot, call me names. I think I like that better, to be honest with you. I do. I like it better than the civil discourse, but because but
not me. No, I'm just kidding.
That's why you stay away from it. That's why. Yeah. So, all right. Well, anyway, I'm going to try to get some sleep after that fucking debacle last night.
Hilarious.
No, it's not hilarious, Lana. That is one thing.
No, it's not, because you got some plans. So you know what? Pull it together, Dolphins.
I'm going to tell you something, and this is something. I'm going to tell you a couple other plans I have, and then we're just going to get out of here.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell you how serious this is. Now, I want to tell you the main thing is this is not the reason why I want the Dolphins to win the Super Bowl. I want the Dolphins to win the Super Bowl. Their last time they won the Super Bowl was 1974. We're getting ready to go to 2024. If you have a calculator, you could do the math. That was 50 fucking years ago, when I was alive for every one of those years. 50. Okay? Since I've been alive, they've been in the Super Bowl twice, lost them both. Really have not been close to a Super Bowl in over 30 years. So this year, before the season started, I told you before, I'm a gambling guy. I like to gamble, but I'm a conservative gambler. If I'm conservative anything, I'm a conservative gambler. And before the season, the odds for the Dolphins to win the Super Bowl were 20-1. So that basically means for every dollar I bet, I can win 20. So if I bet $10, I win 200. If I bet $100, I win 2,000. Okay. I have enough money that if the Dolphins win the Super Bowl, I will win $37,000.
Oh my God.
So that's a vested interest.
I'm going to start rooting for you. Yes, let's go.
That's a vested interest, but I will tell you, if I had $0 on this, my emotions would be the exact same thing.
I know. Yeah.
The exact same thing, whether it's the money or no money. So last night really depressed me because it made me think that maybe they're not ready.
So what is their record though?
Right now they are 9-4. There are 4 games left in the regular season. They'll make the playoffs. They're going to be in the playoffs. That's I'm not really necessarily worried about that. So they have 4 games left.
Who did they lose to?
They lost to the Tennessee Titans, who only had 4 wins coming into the season. They were up by 14 points with 3 minutes to go in the game. If you know anything about football, that's fucking impossible to lose.
Yeah.
Okay.
And up by 14.
Up by 14 with 3 minutes to get the game's over, basically.
Wait, how did they lose that?
Lana, I can't
talk about it. Make it, what, touchdown?
They scored 15 points in the last 3 minutes. What they did was they scored. You could go for 2 in the NFL instead of go for 1. So they scored and went for 2. So they cut the score to 6 with 2 minutes and 40 seconds left. They had 3 timeouts left, and the Dolphins ran a couple plays. They called their timeouts. Long story short, Dolphins had to punt the ball to the Dolphins or to the Titans with a couple minutes to go. Titans went right down the field, scored, kicked the extra point, and took the lead by 1. Dolphins had a chance to kick a field goal or get in position to kick a field goal at the end. They couldn't get there. Game was over.
I can't even imagine your face when the Titans ran that ball down the field.
Well, if you were in the same house with me, you'd see my face for 2 seconds because as soon as it was over, I took the remote, I turned the TV off, I went right to my room, turned off the light, laid in my bed, and was very angry. Very, very angry. And it's even harder to understand the whole scope of what happened last night and why I feel like I feel. I don't want to get into all that because, again, I'm sure people have tuned out by now. Unless somebody's a Dolphin fan or they're a football fan, maybe they do. But
section.
But and by the way, as time goes on, you and I will start talking about our Celtics, who look pretty good too, by the way. So, but anyway, any final thoughts? We're going on 2 hours.
No, I can't. I better not. I'm not saying nothing else. I'm done.
All right. Well, Lana, awesome to see you. And we will check out Lana on Thursday night again on the Quest Show at 8:00 live. And if you don't catch it live, watch the replay anytime you want, right?
Same here. Yes.
Yeah, same here, by the way. And we'll get some. I got a lot of clips
though. You got a lot of work to do. I do nothing here. I just show up.
That's not true. You definitely do something. Because like I said, if you didn't show up, I was like, am I really doing this by myself live? I need to feed off of you because you know everything. So
no, but you can totally do by yourself.
But thank you, Lana, and we will see you Thursday night, and we will also see you next Tuesday. And we hope you all have a great night.
Yeah, good. It's like next week is like that holiday week too.
I know.
When is your holiday party?
I got one Friday night. I've got one next Friday. I got one Friday night, Saturday night. Then I've got 2 out of town coming up.
So like next week is kind of a crazy week.
Yeah,
I think Tuesday's cool.
If it's not, just let me know. We can reschedule. We'll figure something out.
Yeah, I think Tuesday.
Okay. Well, whatever it is, have a good time.
All right.
Have some drinks.
More drinks. Have a good night.
All right. Bye.
Bye.